The Minnesota real estate market is crashing, and other crazy things people are saying is exactly what we're going to talk about in today's monthly market update for the Twin Cities. So why don't we start you off with our interest rates, which is usually kind of top of mind. I mean, this is the thing that is the most volatile around the Twin Cities. And so this is probably what I get asked the most about. So let's look at interest rates. I am going to switch you over to Mortgage News Daily. So if you notice, this obviously looks different than what I normally show you, which is Freddie Mac. A lender friend of mine actually said that this is going to be a better, more accurate look. So hopefully you guys like this. Please let me know. On the left, let's start with the 1 year graph. So this is a change over 1 year. Really, the biggest news is that we just never know what to expect from rates from day to day because they do go up and down so much. So the lender that I recommend, Bridget, said Mortgage News Daily is the most accurate to what she's seen. So that's that blue line right there. So you can see we've been really between 6 and 7% for most of the last year. That's been the biggest news. That's the high rates that people are talking about. So then let's look at on the right side there. This is the 1 month change. So if we're looking at that blue line there, that's the top line there. We're just under 7%. 6.95 is the rates as of today. So not a significant change over the last month, but it's certainly something that we're keeping our eye on. As inflation numbers go up, they keep pushing interest rates up to bring the inflation back down. It's not working great so far, but it's the one lever they've got to try and fix the economy. So we don't love that rates are going up. We're also not expecting them to come down anytime soon. I did actually just hear a news article, a news report from, I think it was Bloomberg that put it out. It was a video of Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, and he was stating they don't expect rates to come down for the next couple of years. I don't know that I love the saying. It feels really cheesy or salesy, but a lot of what I'm seeing in the market is people are buying the house anyways because that locks in that purchase price amount, regardless of what rates are doing, and then they're just planning on refinancing in a couple of years when those come down because you're married to the price of the house, but you're dating the rate. The rate can change through a refinance. Let's talk about the other things very quickly, and then I'll get you into our sales price numbers and how much those are dropping. So month supply of inventory, I just put on there a red line this time for you. As you know, the higher we are, the more of a buyer's market, the lower we are, more of a seller's market. So this is your June update, so we're reporting through May's numbers there. We had zero change, as you can see there, for May. So we're still at 1.7 month supply. Now this is the rolling 12-month average, as you can see on there. So why don't we jump into exactly what it changed. This is the month over month change. So with that number, we're at 1.8 and we're up 0.2 month supply. So that was a pretty significant increase there from April to May. Not terribly surprising. You know, if we look out at the bigger picture, this is kind of what we're seeing. It's always lower in the winter months there, so that's not a surprise. And then it comes up during the summer months to being slightly more towards a balanced market. That's not how the market feels, but it is how the numbers report on here. What was really surprising, however, is our days on market. Now, if you saw the price drop video that I just did, one of the comments on there, I think it was on that video, the guy said the data is absolutely all over the place and it's just a crapshoot to figure out what's going to happen from month to month and to try and interpret it. And my response was, yes, welcome to my world. So the numbers really are all over for different things, and we're really trying to just, read the wind to figure out what's going on and how it's changing. So now let me start you off back in February. So we're going to start with that one here. And then as we move into March, we went from February, which was really, really high, and we were thinking, okay, we had a super snowy, cold winter that slows people out of the market, and we saw interest rates spike right around that time. So we're thinking, all right, between the rates and the weather, a bunch of people held off. That drug our days on market out, right? Sellers still listed, buyers weren't buying as much, so it spiked us in February. Then all of a sudden, March hit, and we dropped much lower into kind of more of a normal territory, being at 27 days on market, obviously, close to half of the number of days on market. And then we had April happen. And, even though with March, we're like, okay, that'll probably settle down. We're expecting the market to slow down, so maybe we'll see it hover at the 27 area. No, then it dropped again by another 10 days on market. And then as you can see there, May came down as well. So May was down an additional 4 days on market. I mean, that's dramatically lower than we were in February. We were expecting this to kind of even out. So, how do we predict exactly what's going on here? We did kind of expect that our days on market would start to come back up like we had seen on that other graph. And they're not really, not in any tangible, significant kind of way. But then if we're also seeing our our month supply of inventory, that buyers and sellers market shifting, then it's kind of like, well, if we're seeing it still being really competitive and that's not shifting up very significantly, why is this staying so competitive? It's kind of anybody's guess. My feelings about it is maybe that buyers just have gotten into a mindset of they're still in the very competitive mindset, so they're moving very quickly on homes, but there's not as many offers on those homes, and so then it's not actually as competitive, but their mindset is still that they really have to get out there quickly. So that does make it a little bit tougher on buyers, but it's kind of great for sellers too. As things are slowing down, their homes are still selling in a fairly quick time frame. And so that is an interesting balance between those two. Here is a very encouraging little stat that I saw here. So this one, let me pull up here. I'm gonna pull up, so in 2020, we're gonna ignore that one. What you're looking at here, this number is gonna show you from April to May change in the number of new listings. Okay, so how many more came on in May than came on in the previous April. So in 2021, you can see we had 103 new listings, additional listings get put on. 2022, big increase there was almost 900 more homes that went on in May versus April. And then if we look at this year, 1,504. That was an incredibly surprising and encouraging number. You've heard about, inventory tightening and that sort of thing, and just a shortage of listings. So I would have not been surprised at all if this was down in the 1 to 500 more new listing type of a range. But the fact that we saw 1,500 was actually incredibly encouraging for our main numbers. So that was a pretty unexpected spike. I think that will help to balance things out a little bit more. But I'm not currently banking on the market shifting dramatically and suddenly, right? Even though we did see 1,500 more new listings come on in May than April, we were still starting at a really low deficit. In the first part of the year, we didn't see nearly as many as we wanted to. So we were kind of making up lost ground on there. So I suppose in a way it shouldn't have been a surprising number to see that the number of new listings, the sellers did still come out of the woodwork. They were just pushed a little bit later into the year. I suspect we'll still be, we'll have a lower peak this year than in other years, but not significantly. I'm gonna hit you with a few different ways of looking at our sale price numbers. We're gonna start you off with the median, so keep an eye right up here. This is looking at the median sale price number, and then this is gonna be the difference between April to May. So you can see here on our median, we came down for the first time in, I believe it was 12 years or so. We've seen a significant decrease in the median. That was by $1,000, and that was just the first time coming from April to May. So we're now at 364. We had previously been at 365 for the past several months for basically all of 2023. So it's not a very significant, quick, all of a sudden shift. Rates will be playing into that. The weather, from the winter, as silly as it is in Minnesota, that plays into all of those numbers. Now let's look at the average number. Now I don't know, quite honestly, if there's a benefit to looking at the average versus the median. They're different, but I don't know that there's a significant benefit to one or the other. With the average, it does fluctuate more frequently, but less significantly each time, if that makes sense. And so we saw the first decrease in our average sale price number back in March. That was $427,544. And then April came down, I think about $260. And then total for May, from April to May, was $500. So we've seen the average number went down a total of $765 since March, which was kind of the peak, if that stays that number. So it's less than $1,000. I mean, it's not a significant difference. You're not going to notice any difference on your payments or anything else really with that significant of an amount, that insignificant of an amount. What is interesting though is just that it's the first time that it's happened in so long. So what does this mean for the future? It's kind of anybody's guess, but we're just keeping our eye on it, not because this amount is significant, but because it could mean that things are softening more, right? And it's really something that's out of our control. Because of, again, it's the inflation numbers that we're seeing. What I want you to keep in mind though is the macro number. So this is that rolling, we're back to our median number here. And if you can see right here, I mean, you can't hardly see, but that was our big decrease right there, right? That's the market's crashing news headline that they're trying to make it. We're still up extremely far. So some people, I get all kinds of comments in the comment section, and I'll engage with most of them. But some of them just are misguided or misunderstanding. They're thinking that all of a sudden we're going to see prices dropping so majorly, so significantly, right? If that's the case, then we would be like right here. This was the Great Recession when everything dropped before. Nobody's predicting that to happen again, okay? So I guess it's possible. Everything shifts. I wouldn't have any problem with prices coming down, but that significant of a drop is really what crashed the market. That was something like, 75 grand in the median sale price in the Twin Cities. So we're not going to see that. We're not going to see that anytime soon. And then regarding foreclosures, we would have to see such a significant drop in that median sale price number that all of a sudden, if somebody bought their home here and then their value now is here because it's gone up in value, as you see on the graph, so much so quickly, they would have to lose all of that, including the cost of selling their home, to then be at risk of getting foreclosed on. And the biggest problem is there's so low unemployment that really, if you lose your job, it's unfortunate, but honestly, you can probably get a better paying one the next day with a sign-on bonus, and you'll be able to make those mortgage payments very quickly. So we're not seeing the unemployment numbers. We are seeing foreclosures going up, but if you're seeing that number, it's because it went from like 0 to slightly above 0. I mean, it's not a significant increase in our numbers overall. So that's what's going on in the Twin Cities real estate market. My name is Joe Carmack. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I do an update like this every single month, and we put out a ton of other great content, which you can find right here next.